Can you imagine what happens when the kindest person you know becomes the most dangerous thing in the universe? I'm not talking about someone who always had darkness inside them. I'm not talking about a villain in disguise. I'm talking about someone genuinely good, someone who spent their entire life sacrificing for others, holding back their own power so they wouldn't hurt anyone, loving so intensely it hurt. And suddenly, that same person becomes capable of destroying entire planets without blinking. This is Jean Grey's story, and her transformation into the Dark Phoenix isn't just one of the greatest tragedies in comics. It's a disturbing mirror of something we'd rather not face. What happens when someone too good finally breaks? Let's start from the beginning. Jean Grey wasn't just another mutant. She was one of the most powerful telepaths to ever exist. Since childhood, she heard everyone's thoughts, felt everyone's pain. Imagine that for a second. You're a 6-year-old girl and suddenly you can feel your best friend dying. Not see, feel, from inside, as if it were you. That's what happened to Jean. She was playing with her friend Annie when a car hit the girl. And Jean didn't just witness the death. She lived through the death, felt Annie's consciousness fading while holding her hand. A child experiencing death in the first person. That should have destroyed anyone, and it almost destroyed Jean. Professor Xavier found her after that. A traumatized little girl with powers she couldn't control, hearing thousands of voices in her head non-stop. And what did he do? He built psychic barriers in her mind, blocked part of her power, hid the true potential she had. Xavier did this to protect her. At least, that's what he said. But think about it with me. You raise a child hiding from her who she really is. You put locks on her power without telling her. You decide she can't handle the truth about herself. Is that protection or control? Jean grew up, became an X-Man, fell in love with Scott, saved the world dozens of times. But there was always something contained within her, always that feeling that she wasn't complete, that a piece was missing. And then came the space mission. The X-Men were returning to Earth in a damaged shuttle. Solar radiation was killing everyone. Someone needed to manually pilot the ship through the radiation storm. It was a suicide mission. Jean volunteered. She telepathically absorbed piloting memories, put the others in a protected area, and piloted the ship alone while radiation destroyed her body cell by cell. She was dying. She knew she was dying, and still she continued, because that's what she always did, sacrifice herself. But something heard her cry. In the moment between life and death, when Jean was falling apart, a cosmic entity responded. The Phoenix Force, one of the oldest and most devastating powers in the universe. It saw something rare in Jean, a heart that burned with genuine passion for life, and it merged with Jean. The ship crashed in Jamaica Bay. The X-Men thought Jean had died, and then she emerged from the waters, reborn in a golden and green costume, with a power that made what she had before look like child's play. I am fire! I am life! I am Phoenix! At first it was glorious. Jean had never felt so alive, so complete, so powerful. Those locks Xavier had placed on her melted. Everything she had repressed her entire life was finally free, and she was using that power for good, to save lives, to protect. But here comes the question nobody asked. What happens when you give unlimited power to someone who never learned to deal with their own desires? Jean spent her whole life being the perfect girl, the heroine, the one who always held back, the one who could never want anything for herself because she was too busy saving everyone, and now she had the power to have anything, to feel anything, to be anything. That's when the Hellfire Club entered. These elite manipulators, especially a bastard named Mastermind, started messing with Jean's mind, creating illusions, seducing her into the role of Black Queen, planting seeds of desire, of indulgence, of darkness, and it worked. Because Jean was starving, not for evil, for experience, for freedom, to finally feel without guilt. When she finally broke Mastermind's control, the trauma knocked down all remaining barriers. Not just the ones Xavier had created, all of them. What emerged was no longer Jean Grey the heroine. It was something beyond good and evil. It was the Dark Phoenix, and the Dark Phoenix was hungry. She flew through space, found a star, and devoured it, consumed an entire sun to satisfy her cosmic hunger, and in doing so, killed 5 billion inhabitants of the planet orbiting that star. 5 billion lives, extinguished in an instant, by someone who weeks before couldn't even step on an ant. This is what makes the Dark Phoenix saga so devastating. It's not a villain cackling malevolently while destroying worlds. It's Jean Grey, the girl who died alongside her friend at age 6, the woman who sacrificed herself to save her companions, the heroine who always put others first. That's the weight of the tragedy. We can't hate the Dark Phoenix because we love Jean Grey. And watching her destroy galaxies is like watching someone you love losing themselves to a disease. You recognize the person, you see glimpses of who she was, but she's no longer there. When Jean had a moment of clarity and realized what she had done, she made the only choice a true heroine would make. She killed herself, activated an alien weapon, and disintegrated to ensure the Dark Phoenix would never hurt anyone again. Scott screamed. The X-Men cried, and the universe fell silent. The Dark Phoenix story isn't about power corrupting. It's about repression exploding. It's about what happens when you force someone to be too good, too perfect, too contained, for too long. That pressure doesn't disappear. It accumulates, and when it finally escapes, it takes everything with it. Jean didn't become a villain because she was evil. She became a villain because she was never allowed to be human, with flaws, with desires, with darkness. They forced her to be pure light, and when darkness finally came, she didn't know how to balance it. That's why this story resonates to this day, because everyone knows someone like this, the person who always gives and never asks, who smiles even when breaking inside, who everyone assumes is fine because she's so strong, until one day she's not fine anymore, and everyone is shocked, as if they hadn't seen the signs. The Dark Phoenix is a warning. Don't let the people you love carry too much weight alone. Don't confuse kindness with invulnerability. And don't force anyone to be their own hero all the time, because even the brightest light can cast the darkest shadow. And you? How much are you holding inside that nobody knows about?